Hi everyone, my name is Suzanne and I'm a Chinese metaphysics master in Hong Kong. Today, again, we are going to look at our Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart. And as with a few days ago, where I posted a video about how you can identify blocks in your wealth capacity, this time we are actually looking at the blocks that keep you from having a healthy and vibrant relationship, romantic relationship specifically. So with Qimen Dunjia, just looking at your destiny chart, we can easily see what is it that continuously brings you trouble in a relationship. And then again, with that awareness, you can then obviously work on resolving those blocks. Now, the first thing you need to do is to plot your Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart. So you can go to this URL, and I will also post the link in the notes to this video. What's important is that you know your time of birth. So for a Qimen Dunjia Destiny chart, we really do need the time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, you will still get a chart, but it's just not accurate. It's the wrong chart. So really, the time is quite essential. And then you will get a chart like this. Sometimes the colors are a little bit different. Don't let that confuse you. You will get something that looks similar to this. And don't worry too much about all the information and the components that are in there. We are only focusing on a few. You don't need to read the entire chart. So it's fairly straightforward. Now, the first thing we need to do is to actually identify the relationship palace. Those squares that you see everywhere in the chart, those are called palaces. And the first thing is to look at where is your relationship palace, and then we can look what's blocking that palace. So what you look for specifically is the palace that has this character in it. It's called harmony, or six harmony rather. So look for the palace that has this particular character. Those are the deities, the deities in Qimen Dunjia, and they are at the upper right corner of each palace. So look for the harmony one. Now, you can also look for the label. So if you don't want to read the Chinese character, you can also look for a label that says relationships, but it's very, very tiny, so you may not be able to always read it so well. So then just look for this one here, this character. It's the six harmony character. So this palace is your relationship palace. This is what we first need to zoom into. Now, once you know this, you check which direction it is in. So in this particular case here, the example, it is in the south, because here's an S, there's a south. If it was here, it would be the southwest. Here is the west, so these letters at the outer rim of this chart indicate the direction. So for this particular person, the relationship palace is in the south. Now, once you know where this relationship palace is, you then find out where the obstruction palace is for you. So for this person, the relationship palace is in the south. And then we check where's the obstruction palace. For this person specifically, the obstruction palace is in the north. Some of you only have one, which is great. This means you only have one issue to deal with or to resolve. Some of us have two. So let's say your relationship palace is in the east. Then your obstructions to relationships are in the west and in the northwest. If your relationship palace is in the northwest, then your obstruction will be found in the south. So first thing, plot the chart. Second thing, look where you have six harmony or the label that says relationship. Then check which direction it is associated with. And then that gives you the obstruction palaces. Once you know the obstruction palaces, you can forget about this part. Because then we start reading the obstruction palace, not the relationship palace itself. Then only the obstruction palace becomes important. So we're focusing in on this. And again, if you have two, then both the information that is contained in both palaces is relevant to you. If you only have one, then only one palace to focus on. All right, so this is what this looks like. So this particular person, as we said, has the relationship palace here in the south. And because it's in the south, the countering palace or the obstruction palace is in the north, which is here. All right, so this is all you need to do. This is super simple, super straightforward. Now, once you know the obstruction palace, then what you need to look at is actually the door. Sorry for that, the door here. So in the center point of the palace, of the obstruction palace, you have what we call a door. This thing here. And this will tell you what is constantly obstructing your relationships, or what is the biggest issues that you are constantly stumbling over when it comes to having a healthy relationship. We're not concerned with any other components in this particular palace. And obviously, if you have two obstruction palaces, you would be looking at two doors. Yeah, this one here is the open door because there's only one obstruction palace, but you may have two. So that means then that you need to work on two issues to improve the quality of your relationships. All right, so let's start with those who have the life door as the obstruction, or in the obstruction palace. If you have the life door, it means that one of your key issues that you constantly fight over with a potential partner is money or finances. Yeah, either there's a lack of money, or there's a disagreement about how to save it, how to spend it, how to earn it. It always boils down to money issues, and it becomes one of the biggest issues in relationships. Maybe in one relationship, there's no money whatsoever. And then in the next relationship, there's plenty of money, but you disagree on how to manage it or how to save it. Yeah, but ultimately, it's money issues that are always making you stumble in the relationship. So you need to find a healthier way to relate to your finances in relationships, rather than having it escalate into arguments. Once you do that, you will have a much, much smoother path towards a healthy relationship. Now, if your obstruction palace has the open door, like in this case here, these are people who are essentially married to their job. Yeah, they're married to their career, and they prefer to spend their time at work or traveling for their career, or even if they're at home, they are working at home and they're just mentally or emotionally absent and just with their job. Yeah, they do not make enough time for their partner, or they don't like to commit time, energy, money to the relationship. Yeah, so it's just all that career and the job is basically the priority here. And obviously, that is not a healthy way to enter into a relationship or maintain a relationship. So if this is your issue, you really need to find a better work-life balance, and you really need to make sure that you spend enough time with your family and your partner. Make time. This is key. Otherwise, this will forever bother you, and it's not just with your current partner, it may also be with the next one and the one after that. Yeah, this is a constant, and it's not the other person's fault, it's your fault. Yeah, so it's something you need to work on. Now, if it happens to be the rest door that is in your obstruction palace, then very often there's maybe a little bit of a conflict between your family and your partner. Maybe your family doesn't like your partner, or maybe the family culture is completely different. Yeah, maybe you come from a particular societal background or cultural background, and it's completely different than the one of your partner, and that can lead to a conflict. Yeah, so this is something that you need to also kind of balance, and you need to make sure that if you commit to this relationship, to this partnership, that you're not only listening to your family and their opinion about your partner, but also take your partner's views into account, especially if you come from two completely different cultural backgrounds. Now, the other thing that the rest door can also imply is that there may be issues with intimacy and sex. Yeah, either you have no sex or you have too many sexual partners, and this then obviously also dilutes your energies. You don't really, if you have so many different sexual partners, you don't really know anymore how to deal with your own energies, and you find it very difficult to just bond with one partner. Yeah, so it's either that intimacy is completely lost, or you have a tendency to just spread yourself too thin, quite literally, and have so many different partners, sexual partners. Maybe if you're in an open relationship, that you miss out on critical, intimate bonding with your own stable partner. Yeah, so a healthy sexual bond is lacking, and this often indicates that you yourself lack in self-love. Yeah, so you need to learn to love yourself a little bit more. So there's two aspects to the rest door if that is in your obstruction palace. Now, if you happen to have the scenery door in your obstruction palace, then either you or your partner prioritizes the reputation more than the relationship. You see this a lot in power couples. Yeah, so they are seen as power couples by their friends, by their peers, and so they have a certain reputation to uphold. But inside the relationship, when it's just the two of them, it doesn't really work that well. Yeah, they stay together because they like to be seen as a power couple, or they like to be seen in a certain way, but it's not actually a really, really healthy relationship. So you need to kind of find a different way of relating to each other and actually making this something that goes beyond just the reputation or what you represent as a couple. Now, if you have the harm door in your obstruction palace, it can indicate that you very, very easily get bored in a relationship. Yeah, you need a lot of excitement. There always needs to be something new. You kind of tend to say, "Oh, I'm bored. I want something different. We need to spice things up," and you're very, very impatient. Yeah, you're not really willing to let things grow in a healthy way. Rather than letting things grow and see where it goes, you just kind of find excitement here and then there and everywhere. Yeah, so kind of accept the status quo. Doesn't mean that you have to accept boredom, yeah? But try to take it a little bit slower and make sure that you're not jumping from one excitement to the next. So that you actually get a feel for your partner. This is quite important so that you can grow together. Now, the other aspect of the harm door is also that you may view your partner or your relationship in a very impractical way. Yeah, you may compare them to others and want them to be like others. Yeah, maybe you want your partner to be perfect, and that need for perfection kills the relationship, because remember, you're not perfect yourself. Yeah, so as long as you're not perfect, you're not going to find a perfect partner either. So you kind of need to step away from that need to be perfect or have the perfect relationship. It's just not going to be that way. Now, the delusion door, if you have that in your obstruction palace, this one indicates a lot of trust issues. Yeah, so maybe there's not a lot of communication in the relationship. Maybe you don't trust your partner enough to discuss certain things that trouble you or things that are important to you. So that obviously then kills the relationship, because if you can't talk about a vision together or a future together, you don't even know whether you have a future together, then that is not a healthy way to relate to each other. And so your way of dealing with relationship problems, rather than talking them through, is very often to just run away. So that is not good. So you need to work on your communication skills within the relationship. You need to learn to communicate what you need. You need to communicate what you envision for the future, for yourself, for the partnership, for the relationship, and then discuss things rather than just running away. Now, the fear door. If you have the fear door in the obstruction palace, you kind of always bring your past baggage and fears into the new relationship. And obviously, this is really, really unfair for your new partner. Yeah, just because your past partner maybe cheated on you or betrayed you doesn't mean that the new one will do the same. Yeah, so you kind of let your past experiences, especially your past trauma, get in the way of the current happiness. This is very common for people who have gone through a divorce and they just can't let go, and then they take this with them into the new partnership. So especially if you have the fear door, remember that whenever you go into a new relationship, you start with on a blank slate. Yeah, don't bring your past baggage with you because that will ultimately kill the relationship. And then lastly, if you have the death door in the obstruction palace, these are people who tend to not communicate very well. They don't talk about feelings. They don't talk about their day, their work, whatever. They just internalize everything. So if you have that in your obstruction palace, then you just don't talk about things. So maybe your partner asks you how was work and you're like, yeah, it was okay. And that was it. You just don't talk about things. And so your partner, who is not a mind reader, will not know if and when you had a shitty day. They won't know how to help you, how to be there for you. And so you basically miss out on a lot of happiness as well because you just internalize everything without expressing yourself. And there's no spark anymore. After a while, your partner won't even ask you anymore. Yeah, because they just give up. You're not talking, so I'm not going to ask you. And then eventually the relationship becomes dead and very stagnant, right? So it's up to you to bring back that spark. All right. So this is what you can derive when you look at the obstruction palaces in your Qimen Destiny chart. And as I mentioned, some of us have two. So you need to work on two issues, or at least those that you feel relate to you or resonate with you. And if you only have one, then that's great because you really only have one issue to work on. All right, so I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. I am leaving my contact details in the notes to this video, and you can obviously also comment. You hopefully share this video, like this video, and just get the word out to all these people who may be interested in these kind of things. Talk to you soon.